All right, people, we are live with the MMA Mainstream Podcast. I am James with Kaelyn, and we're going to talk about some cage fighting, folks. That's what we do here. But we not only do we talk about cage fighting, we talk about just about every combat sport that's in the news this week, or has been in the news for that matter. And but we will start because Bellator, I didn't realize it, they had a fight today, but it's in the UK, and so it already happened. And we were going to make picks until I found out that it was going on, like it already happened. Mm-hmm. So we are not going to make picks. The fights still have yet to be televised here in the States, I believe. So you can still have a chance to check it out. We won't spoil it for you. I only know who won the main event because I was just looking through MMA websites and went, oh, man. So that totally
sometimes
that totally ruined it for me. So I was like, all right, I still want to catch the fight because the hell of a main event between Lima and Michael Venom Page, MVP. But that will be going on tonight here stateside. It's already happened. Check your local listings, but it's probably on Showtime. So that's that for that. Then we had the UFC last week. We had the pay-per-view that had quite the fight card. Volkonovsky, who we were just talking about before we started this podcast, and Bryant Ortega were on the card. Let me go ahead and get to that. But we're going to start at the bottom of the card like we usually do because we did make fight picks. We had Jessica Andrade versus Cynthia Calvillo. Mm-hmm. Andrade got the TKO first round at the very end of the round.
Yeah, I think that was. I already knew that was going to be a really tough fight for Cynthia Calvillo, though. I mean, because Jessica Andrade is just not. I mean, she had the belt for a while, so like you already know what kind of level she's at. And Cynthia Calvillo is good too, but she's not. She hasn't really competed for the belt. Hasn't gotten too far up there yet. So I think this was kind of like a rude awakening, but needed to happen also. And also I think Jessica Andrade needed a fight for her to win to
push her to that.
Well, yeah, but you also can't fight for the belt every time, even though maybe she's rightfully the person to do it. You'd have to fight other people and give other people a chance.
You got to build back up.
Yeah, but also the fighters that are under you are trying to fight as well, better opponents such as her. So I kind of knew this was going to happen just because of how good Jessica Andrade has been in her experience. But so I'm not surprised. I thought maybe it would have been a better fight, but or like a longer fight, more competitive. But I'm not surprised.
Random note: I just realized who Andrade remind me of.
What?
Ruby Rose.
Ruby Rose?
Have you ever seen John Wick or Orange is the New Black?
I've seen John Wick. What are you talking
about? In John Wick 2, she was the deaf girl.
I only really remembered the first John Wick. After that, I didn't.
And you were letting me down when it comes to watching action flicks right now. I just want you to know that.
I like John Wick.
And you've never seen the other ones?
No, because I figured they were.
Wait, was it John Wick 2? Or John Wick 3?
See, if it was 3, I definitely didn't watch it because I figured those movies get played out, and I'm like,
I'm pretty sure it was John. Yeah, it was John Wick 2. Yes.
No, I did not see John Wick 2, just the first one.
But Ruby Rose is a badass chick who looks very similar to Jessica here, so that's why I was like, ding, light bulb. All right, so she got the win, and is still legit badass. We move up the card. We have Curtis Blades versus Rosenstroke. We both chose Rosenstroke, and we were both wrong.
Yes.
It went the distance. So Curtis Blades, of course, was going to get the victory on that one.
Yeah, I think people knew that if it went the distance that he would win. But also, I didn't know he was going to be so dominant in that fight either. Like he really showcased all of his skills in that one. I was really impressed because Jairzinho is he's a big guy. Like for him to throw him around like he did was pretty cool to watch. And Curtis Blades is definitely deserving of fighting top fighters like that. He's good. He's good in all the areas, especially wrestling.
I mean, that's also why he's ranked number 4.
Yeah.
especially that he hit 3 takedowns on him. I mean,
dude, but
kind of surprised by that.
Were like perfect. They were like beautiful to see someone take someone of that size down like that. It looked like it was super easy for him, which I wasn't expecting. Good fight though.
Well, let's see. Neither of us chose that fight to go that way.
Right.
We both chose Andrade, so we got that one. And then we have Nick Diaz versus Robbie Lawler. Nick Diaz, even though he lost the fight to Lawler, got quite a few compliments from Dana White. Joe Rogan even complimented him that coming back after such a long layoff, he looked pretty damn good. If he was Nick Diaz ready like he usually was, not from recovering from such a long layoff, it probably would have been a closer fight. But Robbie Lawler, who has still been competing often, did get the win by TKO in the 3rd round in 44 seconds.
Yeah. This fight was better than I thought it was going to be. So Nick Diaz has some good boxing, obviously. Like, he has always had good boxing. Both the Diaz brothers have good boxing. And he really showed that. But also, both these guys are almost 40 years old. So when I saw that tail of the table, I'm like, oh, God, I didn't know they were that old yet. But Robbie Lawler looks very much in shape. I know he is still active, so that's why. But also, Nick Diaz that's not the Nick Diaz I don't think people remember, obviously.
I think you're right. Definitely right about that. Nick Diaz, as someone who's watched MMA as long as I have, Nick Diaz, he's always been very lean, for one thing. And he didn't look quite so lean.
He's not,
but
so much
he's always
anymore.
He's always been active. He's always been doing something. Him and his brother would do triathlons like during their downtime and Ironman competitions. Like they were always doing something, and I don't know what he was up to. I mean, he could have been doing that, but it looked like he had packed on some pounds a little bit. So,
I mean, for his age, that's normal, But I don't know how active he's been. I don't think he's been that active like he used to be. I'm judging based off looks, so who knows? But also,
and I mean, because we don't really know because he isn't very out there in the media. He's not a fan of the media. We've discussed that before. Yeah. And so we don't know what he was really up to.
Right. Yeah. I was really interested to see him fight, but I also almost didn't want to watch this fight because I kind of got the feeling that Nick Diaz, he looked like he felt like shit, if that makes sense. I don't know what he felt like in there, but he looked like he felt like shit. I'm not saying he looked like shit. He looked like he felt like shit. He's obviously packed on some pounds since, he used to fight, but also Robbie Lawler is also getting older as well, even though he is in shape. It's just they aren't the same fighters for sure as they used to be.
True.
I was pleasantly surprised with this fight because I think they made a choice to stand up and box each other because obviously it could have gone another way. And I think they chose to stand up for as long as they did. And Nick just got peppered a few times too hard. And then towards the end, he shells up and eventually the ref had to call it. But out of the two, Robbie Lawler looked a lot better. Nick Diaz still has some really good boxing skills. So it was nice to see that he decided to actually, I think he put it all out there. So I'm really happy that he did that because I know a lot of people would be probably more conservative. And even with him getting hit, he still fought back pretty hard. So I was impressed for their age and for what this fight is. I was impressed the way it went. I'm not going to sit up there and say that he looked incredible. Like, I'm not saying what Dana White said because it's not the same Nick Diaz as it's been. So, I don't know. What Dana White said, I'm like, I was surprised he went that far to say he looked that good. I'm like, he looked okay.
I think given the time to really prep for a fight and not giving him necessarily a tune-up fight and just kind of throwing him out there with somebody who is in the top 15, even though he is older, getting older.
Yeah.
you can't say that he didn't go out there and compete against a high-level athlete.
This was a good fight for both of them, I think. So I'm not mad at the fight.
Agree.
It was a good fight. It went better than I thought it was going to go. I also think people are giving him a lot more credit than what the fight really was. But it was, all in all, it was pretty good. And I was pleasantly surprised. So.
All right. Then we had Valentina Shevchenko versus Lauren Murphy.
Yeah.
We both picked in the last fight. I picked Diaz. You picked Lawler. You got the nod on that. We both picked Shevchenko. Yeah. And we got the win on that one.
Yeah. That fight. That fight went the way I thought it was going to go. I was just a little surprised that the commentators immediately shut down Murphy. Like, I think they knew she didn't have it. Like, I feel like everyone knew that she didn't have a chance, just like most of her opponents, of course, because it's Valentina Shevchenko. But especially Lauren Murphy, I feel like the commentators were right off the bat talking shit on Murphy.
They sometimes have a tendency to do that.
They do.
But yet, I will say this. After watching the Embedded, I was fully like, yeah, this chick has a chance.
Oh, you think so?
And then I thought about it, and I was like,
I didn't think
wait a minute. No, she doesn't. What am I saying?
No.
You've tried to trick me.
The reason why she had this fight is because she was the rightful fighter to have that fight, because she has made her way to the top just as anyone should, and she is good. I'm not saying she's not good, but against Shevchenko, that's a different story. But also, man, immediately the commentators, DC and whoever else was on the panel, or Paul Felder, immediately started calling out the flaws in Murphy. I'm like, oh man, they didn't even the commentators didn't give her a chance, and it was clear. I mean, I feel like they could have given her a little more credit because she did last a while. And to be honest, she had got a few shots in, not, obviously.
But few being the operative word in that sentence, let's be real.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think, but everyone knew it was going to happen. We just didn't know when or how. But even the commentators immediately shut down Murphy. And I was like, you can give her a little more credit, just because this is the fight at hand. Like, you think they would, but even they shut her down, and I was like, oh, well, man, just let it go. Let's see what happens before you talk shit. Like, in my mind, I'm saying this as I'm watching the fight, but we all knew it was going to happen. Unfortunately, I kind of feel bad for her because everyone was saying, we all know what's going to happen. And, so the only thing I feel bad about is because she worked so hard to get to that position to even have the fight. It's like, what do you do in a weight division where Valentina Shevchenko is a champion? What are you going to do about it? Nothing.
Here's what she did. She was like, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to lose. No, I don't think she had the mindset, but unfortunately that was the end result.
But she was very unsure of herself, and everyone called her out on it too, and I felt bad about that. But I'm like, because the commentators mentioned that too. They were saying, yeah, Lauren Murphy looked uncomfortable and unsure of herself, even though Lauren Murphy was saying, we're going to do this because you have to, because of media. But they were even calling her out on that too. I was like, geez, that's kind of rough.
Yep. And there you go. Shevchenko got the win, retains. Yeah. And now we move on to Alexander Volkonovsky versus Bryant T. City Ortega. Man, I took Ortega just because California represent all the way. And then you took Volkonovsky. Volkonovsky, of course, got the win.
Yeah.
From highlights and what I've seen, phenomenal fight.
What?
Just a great fight.
Oh, yeah, dude. Man, I don't know how many people get nominated for Fight of the Year, but man, this is up there. Brian Ortega is a lot tougher than I thought, but also Brian Ortega has a lot better boxing skills than I thought. Also, like, he's really come around.
He trains in that pretty heavily. But I feel like it's just nothing compared to Volkonovsky's hands.
Yeah, he got touched up a lot. I mean, he broke an orbital, I think they said, bruised ribs. He also pulled out one of his best moves on the ground, and Volkonovsky got out of it miraculously. That was
is nuts.
That's insane. That just shows how good Volkonovsky is. But man, this fight is just, it's got to be on the list for Fight of the Year because I mean, they probably already awarded that. I'm not sure when they do that, but that was a great fight. I'm so glad that it was what it was because the buildup from the Ultimate Fighter, you always expect a really good fight from the two coaches, but this one lived up to what it was supposed to be. And I want to watch that fight again. I didn't buy the pay-per-view, so I can't go back and watch it, but I would definitely watch that fight again. It was crazy. The two fighters that should fight each other, those are the two, man. That I would watch them fight any day. That was crazy.
Well, now that Ortega lost, unfortunately, I think he'll have to have another bout before he could even entertain the idea of competing against Volkonovsky once again.
I don't know where he goes from there, but he should get all the credit in the world for what he just did too. That I think Dana White was saying he was super impressed. He should be. He was saying he was super impressed too, of course. But that was a great fight. Good fight card. I think a lot of people are talking shit on the fight card. Like, I think when a lot of girls are on the fight card, they kind of tend to talk shit on the main card like that. But because they think it's going to be boring. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But this fight card was definitely worth a pay-per-view in my eyes. So.
I agree. I think it was one of the better pay-per-views in the way of a pretty well stacked fight card.
Well, they just ended up really great fight.
That's also it too. It wasn't exactly the best stacked. It was stacked nonetheless, because every pay-per-view you got to have that selling point. So you were going to want to stack it to a certain extent. But yet, let's be honest, the one that I was looking forward to was the Piotr Jan rematch at the end of now this month in October. That is not going to happen.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Sterling.
Aljo. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Dude, how shitty is this situation?
It's so lame. Like, come on, man. I understand if he still has neck problems, but yet he should have been talking about that the entire time. Like, I'm still dealing with this neck issue. Rather than, I got a fight set up. My neck. Or,
it's getting closer. No, I'm not saying that's what's going on, because who knows? But the situation doesn't look good, and it really makes him look bad. I don't think he shouldn't have that belt in the first place. I think the rule on that, I don't understand why the rule is what it is when I feel like when it's a belt, there should not be a winner by default by any means.
Completely agreed. And we did discuss this at great length when it happened.
Yeah, I know, because I was angry. I'm like, this guy is going to act like he just won the fight when he got, so Peter Yan illegally kneed him in the head. That's terrible, that he did that. But also, why would you accept the belt like that? I don't even know why they give you the belt for a fight that happened. Like, if anything, go ahead and take the belt away from the champ for what he did. Do not give it to the person who's trying to milk it as if he won that belt. You know what I mean? Because this is the first time I've seen this. I don't know. Maybe it's happened in the past and I don't remember. But someone getting the belt because of an illegal blow is just, I feel like as a fighter, you shouldn't accept that belt. You should say, no, I didn't rightfully win this. If anything, vacate. Have the former champ or the champ at the time fight again to keep it. Fight someone else or whoever, or Aljo when he comes back and is healthy. But definitely don't keep the belt. You didn't win it, and now you're prolonging it because you have injuries. Like, I know everyone gets injured. That's not knocking him on getting injured, but the fact that he has the belt on default because of an illegal blow, and now you're going to drag it out because you are injured. Why don't you just give the belt back? If you're so confident in yourself, you should be able to fight for it again when you're better. Don't be walking around taking pictures with the belt as if you won the fight. This still pisses me off.
It feels cheap. That's why.
It's not real. It's not real. And now you have this weird rule because they have these interim belts, as if those mean anything. Now these two guys got to fight for an interim belt. Just give them the real one. Have them fight for the real one, man.
Yeah. And for those watching at home and don't know, Corey Sandhagen is going to be taking the place of Aljamain Sterling, and that will be for an interim title.
Yeah.
So we will have an interim champ who, whoever wins that match, will end up probably competing against Sterling when he decides to come back from his neck injury that he acquired.
Yeah, I think that not Aljo, but Corey Sandhagen deserves to fight for the belt. He deserves to fight for the real belt also. So I think, honestly, if it were my world, I would have that belt vacated and have Petr Yan and Corey Sandhagen fight for the belt. You know?
Agreed.
So, and then Aljamain I think Aljo should get an immediate rematch when he comes back when he's healthy. That's fine. Go ahead and do that. But don't let him keep the belt. Like, that's insane. That's so stupid. And I think he's gotten injured twice since he's had that belt.
Yeah, so it's actually been a curse. Good. Sucker. All right.
Yeah.
But that's going to happen later on this month, I believe. That fight's still going to be at the end of October. It's just not with Aljamain Sterling. It's going to have Corey Sandhagen, who has been competing quite a bit within these past few months. So
honestly, this is going to be a good fight too. This is going to be a way better fight.
I think Petr Yan is super motivated, and I really can't wait for that fight. But that will be taking place at the end of the month. Going back to the fight picks that we had from the previous week for the pay-per-view, you won 4-2.
Yeah, there you go.
Good job. You made all the right picks. But we're not done yet because we still have picks to make for this week's fights, which is a fight night that's going to be taking place. And as soon as I can get that brought up for us right now, we will start at the bottom of the main card. We have Alexander Hernandez versus Mike Breeden. Breeden didn't make weight. He was off by 2.5 pounds, so he lost 20% of his fight purse. Because of that, well, we have Hernandez versus Breeden, 12-4 versus 10-3. Hernandez is coming off a loss. Breeden is first time in the octagon, and you didn't make weight, bro. I'm sorry, they frown upon that.
Also, hold on. This is your debut, and you're fighting Alexander Hernandez, dude. That's not that's not a shoe-in fight right there. That's a tough fight. So, and he's already coming out with losing some of his purse. So even if he does win, he's not going to get all that money. This fight, I'm picking Alexander Hernandez. He's very good. He's been around for a while. He has experience. So I don't know, but this is what is this, a welterweight? I'm assuming.
Let's see. Let me back out of this.
170.
And see if it says it's a lightweight bout.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. So lightweight is 155, isn't it? Am I wrong?
Yeah. Let me check on.
I wonder if Alexander came down in a weight class.
Let's see. Alexander Hernandez was at 154.5.
Okay. Oh, so
he did make weight, but Breeden did not. And Breeden was the heavier fighter when you look at their weight classes. When you look at their weights, I should say, on the UFC website.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think it's interesting that Hernandez is 5'9", and they couldn't get a height, excuse me, for Mike Breeden. So he is 0-0.
I feel like the people that put these little things together are asleep at the wheel half the time. So
that's true. That's why he's also his shadow.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go with Hernandez on this one.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Let's progress up this fight card. We have Misha
Cirkunov.
You know what? I said it earlier. I was like, oh, okay. And then I saw it right now. I was like, question mark. Versus Christoph Jotko.
Yeah.
15-6 versus 22-5. Both fighters coming off of a loss.
Both these guys are good fighters, though.
Yeah,
this is going to be a crazy fight. I don't even know who to pick. God.
I'd pick Misha.
Yeah.
By knockout or submission. But if it goes decision, Jotko has the clear advantage.
Yeah. I'm going to pick Misha.
You're going to pick Misha?
Yeah.
I feel like this one's going to go to decision.
You don't know. I think someone's going to get knocked out.
All right. You know what? I will go with Misha as well. But if it goes to decision, I'm going to kick myself.
Yeah.
Alex Oliveira versus Nico Price.
Yeah, this is
22, 10, and 1 with 2 no contest. Jesus Christ, man. 2 no contest. And another guy with 2 no contest. 14, 6, and 0 with 2 no contests.
That's rare.
Where are these guys having no contests to, man?
I don't
Both
remember.
are coming off losses.
Yeah, Alex Oliveira has been in the UFC for a long time. He's had a lot of fights in the UFC. So I don't know where those no contest came from. I'm not surprised. He's had a lot of experience. Nico Price is good too. He's crazy. So
with a stash like that, yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably pick Nico Price on this one. I feel like Alex Oliveira lately, from the most recent fights, I feel like he maybe came down a level than what he was when he was first really fighting. And I don't know. I'm not saying he's not good, because he's still good, but I think Nico Price is going to edge him out in some way. So
I do agree with that. I concur. It's also
I love Alex Oliveira. I've always liked him. It's just it's been a long time, and his more recent fights look like he's a bit slower. Maybe I'm not sure what that's about. Maybe age. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't even know.
You don't want to think so, but I mean, it does happen. Yeah. And then we have Kevin Holland versus Kyle Dawkis.
Yeah,
so Kyle
Holland just fought not that long ago, though. Remember?
Yeah, I'm picking Kyle.
Are you?
Yeah, because Holland doesn't seem to get it together when he needs to.
Oh man, but you can't blame him. He just got into the UFC from the Contender Series, and it's not like, I don't think he had a full background on a martial art. He's just kind of like one of those freestyle fighters that happens to be very good, so he got into UFC. But you can't be like, oh, this is for sure going to the ground. This is for sure stay on the feet. It's kind of like a question.
I've already been wrong by picking Holland. Let him prove. He has to win. And if Dawkis beats him, I'm just gonna be like, I told you so.
I'm going to pick Holland.
You're going to go Holland? All right. And then when he loses, I'll go, I told you so.
We'll see.
That's true. You're right. And knowing my luck, he'll win. And I'll just be like, great.
Yeah.
Oh, now you want to take this seriously? Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. Let's keep going up that fight card to the main event. Thiago Santos versus Johnny Walker.
This is going to be interesting. I wonder what kind of shape Thiago Santos is in. I don't know. When was that fight? He blew out all his ligaments in his knee. I forgot who he was fighting. Who was he fighting? Jon Jones?
I don't recall.
Jones?
I want to say yeah, but I do not recall.
No. Yeah.
Speaking of blowouts, we'll talk about that a little bit later, folks.
My God. Yeah. Yeah, speaking of Jon Jones, no, that was the fight where Thiago Santos blew out his knee completely, but he also had a fight after that, and I don't remember who it was, and it didn't go his way. I just don't remember.
Yeah, but he is coming off of a loss. He's 21-9 against Johnny Walker, who's 18-5.
Johnny Walker was really great when he first got into the UFC and started making a name for himself, and then he did that weird thing where he tried to celebrate after his win by doing the worm in the octagon and blew out his shoulder.
He injured himself. I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah, but he really injured himself. He needed surgery. And then his fight after that, he lost, and he just didn't look that great. I forgot who his last fight was, coming off of a win, though. I think Thiago Santos is going to get this one.
You take Santos? I take Walker.
Okay.
Going against the grain here.
I don't know.
All right, those are our picks for this upcoming fight night, folks. We'll see how it goes. But boo Holland. Boo.
I like him.
All right. They did have some there's actually a women's fight that was dropped from the card. I found out about that earlier. That was between, let's see, where to go. Aspen Ladd versus, who was it? Who was she going to fight? Aspen Ladd versus Macy. Yes, thank you. That fight was scrapped because Ladd wasn't able to make weight, and she blames Mother Nature.
Yeah.
So she was, let's see, she missed the women's bantamweight bout by 1 pound.
Oh,
I thought it was way more than that. Let's look at this article. She weighed in at 137 on her final attempt.
137 for 135, so that's 2 pounds. That's pretty heavy.
Yeah, everybody else was 2 pounds over, and yeah, there you go. Let's fight. You just lose part of your purse.
Yeah, the other girl didn't want to do it. She didn't want to take the fight. I don't know what that's about. These two ladies were supposed to fight already, and something happened, and they couldn't fight. So this was the second attempt, and Aspen Ladd missed weight. So, I feel like Aspen Ladd almost fainted on the last one. Did she not?
Was it her? That was like falling over?
Yeah. Was that Aspen Ladd? I think it was. I could be wrong. I think she had already failed at her weight. Oh.
Let's see. In July, okay.
I was wrong.
Yeah, they've been critical of each other in the past because this fight was already supposed to take place in July, but didn't happen due to a foot injury from Macy. So the fight was rescheduled for this weekend, but clearly that's not happening because Aspen didn't make weight.
Yeah.
Aspen blames Mother Nature for it. So I'm just going to be honest. As a male, don't have to deal with these things. But since you are a female competitor in striking, does having your monthly visitor affect when you go into competition?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. But, so every girl's different. This really actually comes down to biology. So every woman is different as far as what she goes through around that time. Mm-hmm. It could be really, really bad, or it could not really be much at all. Cutting weight, you retain a lot more water. But the thing about this is what it is water. It is water. So technically you can get rid of it, but also it's dangerous because you could faint. Different things happen during that time where you are retaining you're bloated for sure. You're retaining a lot of water, but also if you try to get rid of that water, you feel sick. Some girls actually are throwing up sick going through that time of the month, it sucks, dude. That really would suck. But as a professional fighter, I think you have to take an account for that to happen. I know that kind of thing could happen at any moment. It really could. It's really crazy. Normally, but a lot of times you don't know. And if I was, a professional fighter where my career depended on me being able to fight, and I would either, if I knew what my schedule was, I would schedule around it. Also, there are things you can do to lighten that up a bit. It involves taking hormones, not testosterone, but
but that's an interesting question though, because
and
what's okay and what's not. I mean, I imagine there is of course a comprehensive list for these fighters, but
I mean, okay, I'm just, from my opinion, if I was in the UFC, professional fighter, that's how I made my money, my income. I would make damn sure I'm not going to have that happen around fight time. There are ways you can do that. I'm not saying it's safe or healthy. I know, I've done it before where, you just take extra birth control. Estrogen does block that. So if I was in her shoes, I would make sure that I would not be going through this at that time. And that's just a part of being a woman. You got to, if you're expecting to fight and get paid just as males do, you got to take care of that issue, or at least take into account that could happen. And if you're cutting weight, as a woman, I feel like most women fighters should probably take the extra time before cutting weight to actually drop some weight in general anyways. Don't wait till the last week to cut all your weight. I think that you could drop weight slowly ahead of time to where your weight cut is not that bad, and you have that cushion of an extra 3 pounds, an extra 4 pounds at the most, in case something like that happens. I just feel like you need to be a little more prepared And I don't think it's an excuse. I think she knows it's not an excuse. She's already like, bring on the comments, so I understand, it is what it is. But I mean, if I was a pro fighter, especially in the UFC, I would take into account that could happen and take care of it, or be prepared so that if it does, you still make the weight. And
Of course.
I guess she was only off by 2 pounds. It's not a lot. But,
yeah, which I think is so strange that they would completely cancel the bout.
But you know what? Like I'm saying, everyone's different. I don't know what she goes through at that time. It could be really, really rough. So I don't judge anyone, because honestly, I like to curl up in a ball and cry sometimes, because it actually hurts. You got cramps, you got blood, you just feel like a piece of shit, to be honest. And your emotions are like weird, but as a fighter, I think you have to take that into account and prepare ahead of time. Lose an extra few pounds if you have to, just in case that happens. So I don't like to use that as an excuse. I get that's why that happened. I understand, but also, shame on you, sort of. Be prepared,
Now, I'll be honest, if she did go in there and she was dealing, with what she is dealing with, and she was super, like, emotionally, like, that would be so awesome to just watch in there and go lay the hammer down, just because she didn't want to be there, because she's like, this is my job. I have to do this. I'm going to end this fight as soon as possible, because I'm done.
But dude, but just a little bit of information in case no one knows. During that time of the month, your ligaments and joints are weaker. You are prone to a lot more injuries, serious injuries.
Really?
Yeah, you could stretch and tear ligaments easily. It's just something about that menstrual cycle will it affects your entire body. So, and I'm gonna be honest, not to put my business out there, but I don't train during that time if I don't have to, because I am prone to knee injuries, joints are sore. It's not a good idea. You could just avoid it. So I do, just because I've been injured seriously, and I'm like, hold on, it was during that time. Does that have something to do with it? And I, did some research, and it affects your whole body. Your body's a little bit weaker, So it's crazy. You as a woman, you got to look out for that, but also be prepared, take care of yourself.
Touche. Also, another fighter that didn't make weight was Betch Correa, and she missed weight by 2 pounds, but that fight is still scheduled to go on. She is fighting on the prelims of the Fight Night card. So that is also going on in that card.
She went from doing headlining to prelims.
Isn't that nuts? Like, I just don't feel like – I feel like she had that build, and then once she didn't, it was nothing.
Well,
she kind of has started to fizzle.
I remember her fighting Ronda Rousey. That
was her big deal.
Yeah, but she also got TKO'd by Rousey, which, it's not common. Usually Rousey's pulling your arm apart, Yeah, but she actually got her on the feet. I was like, oh, wow. I didn't know if it was just Betch not being as good as I thought she was, or Rousey's got some other tools that we didn't know about. But also, I don't know if you watched the fight between Betch and Holly Holm. Holly Holm essentially did what she did to Rousey to her in Brazil.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I got satisfaction out of watching that. I like Holly Holm a lot, and especially that head kick that she did to Rousey. Same move got Betch Correa in Brazil. So interesting. Betch, after that, I don't know if she's had any luck with her fights. I don't remember. But she used to be headlining. She fought Rousey. She was at the top for a while. Now she's on the prelims. Who was she fighting again? Who's her opponent?
Let me find out for us. She is competing against. No, that's not it. Where are you? Carol Rosa.
Don't know who that is, but you see what I mean.
Yeah. Also, Ronda Rousey gave birth.
Did she?
Random note. Yeah, she mentioned Ronda Rousey. Yeah, she gave birth.
Yeah.
Her and Travis Brown have a little baby.
Right. I read that. And also the name they gave her. What?
Yeah. No.
That middle name.
I can't even. I'm like, that's a lot of syllables.
Like, what?
I'm like,
I forget. Travis Brown is what is he, Hawaiian or something?
Yeah, Shaka Brown.
Yeah,
So,
that's a
yeah.
very interesting name. But also, those two are weirdos anyway.
Yeah, they are. Go
They
live on
are.
your farm. Good luck.
They're like they're like kind of like those doomsday preppers. Also, I watched a little documentary on them and thought they're made for each other. That's for sure. But they are weird.
Oh, yeah. And now let's go ahead and move on from Ronda Rousey to another star of MMA. Well, soon to be former star, depending on if the law gets in the way. Jon Jones got in trouble again. He was in trouble last Friday, which we did discuss. And then he reported this week that he was done with alcohol.
Yeah.
His boss says 10 years ago, that should have been 10 years ago. You're late.
You're late.
Like, come on.
Yeah, I saw
Get it
that.
together. And what sucks is they're not going to, the UFC, unfortunately, won't do anything about it because he is a cash cow. I mean, I get it on the UFC's part. They don't care what they do have a certain standard for certain things from what I've understood in the past as it pertains to tattoos.
Not
You're
much.
right, not much, or a criminal record. But you're a pay-per-view generator. Yeah.
We'll let it slide.
Push you along. Yeah.
You know what? So I feel like Dana White's attitude lately, last couple of years, is pretty much his excuse for all, because everyone's trying to hold him accountable for everybody's fuck ups. And he's like, hey man, you realize what sport we're in, right? These are fighters. They're crazy. They're gonna do.
They're all fuck ups.
It's a all around dirty business to begin with. It's like, how are you? You're going to hold. I understand that UFC's come a long way and they're very professional, but also you're dealing with fighters. Those are fighters that are fighting for their career. A lot of them have been incarcerated or have come from a really rough upbringing because they don't have any other skills. They didn't want to apply themselves at other jobs like everyone else, or go to school, or couldn't afford to go to school. You know, that's a big thing too. So to try and hold Dana White accountable for fighters, I mean, come on. I think
that's tough.
I think people hold Jon Jones to a higher standard too, and when he fucks up, they
get
Dana White.
I can see that, and I do hold him to it. He's like, okay, people like to talk about athletes aren't role models. I'm sorry, you're in the public light. You're around kids. Kids watch you. Okay. You're a role model.
Also,
let's be honest.
Who cares? Like, he's going to do what he wants to do. Yeah, kids follow him.
True.
Is that his, I mean, maybe morally he's responsible, but it's not his responsibility to be.
He also has two brothers that play in the NFL. Like,
yeah. Now that's a legit.
You feel like, come on, you're from a family of successful people and you're the fuck up.
Yeah.
And you're the most noted of your siblings. Come on, man.
Yeah. I get it, and it's totally on him. That's his choice of what kind of a person he wants to be. I just think it's funny when people get fired up, like, how dare you, Jon Jones, doing what you did. It's like,
no, I'm not saying, like, I just think he should have really thought about what he was doing. Clearly he didn't.
Of course, he should have thought about the last 4 incidents that he did also, but
that's true.
You know, clearly something.
But he needs to realize that he's somebody. He's a famous person. And he is held to a different standard, even though he's just an athlete.
Yeah, but does he really have that responsibility? No. He can do whatever he wants, and he does.
And that's what sucks. I unfortunately feel like
I think people need to let that go. I think they need to let it go that they think he should be accountable and like, yeah, you can have your opinion on that, but if he doesn't,
yeah, and I'll continue to have that. But will I watch him fight? Yes, I will watch him fight. I'm an adult. I will make that choice.
It makes it more interesting also, the fact that he's the way he is, you know. Conor McGregor is a piece of crap sometimes too, you know. He has done some really respectable things though, by the way. But also, yeah, he fucks up too, you know.
Yeah, especially
I'd watch either of them fight. I'd love watching them fight, as everybody else does too. So it's not going to affect the views on his fights. If not, it may have brought more attention to him. But
it brought unwanted attention to him, especially for a guy who hasn't fought in so long and makes all these idle threats. Well, I'm going to the heavyweight division. Well,
yeah,
I'd like to see win.
I think everybody else would too, but I think, but Dana White's responses are just like spot on. Like, why the hell is he going to take accountability for his fighter, Jon Jones? Says he's his own person. He can do what he wants. He says that Jon Jones is wild and he's right. His opinions are right about him, but you can only do so much. Also, it's the fight business. I don't think anyone should hold anyone to a high standard in that business, if you know what I mean. I mean, you can. There are some very respectable people, and they deserve everything that they get, their money, their pay-per-view, and how popular they are. Like Alexander Volkonovsky, he's great. Never heard anything crazy about him. Same with a lot of other champions. They're great. But you're going to have some that aren't, and who cares, I don't know. I'm not surprised that he did that, but it's somebody that's going through stuff that hasn't figured it out yet,
But he's also at that age where it's like, you haven't figured it out by now.
Yeah, he's older now. He's in his, 32, 3, 4-ish?
Yeah.
Around there?
Yeah, so, he's going to be the old guy at the club. Let's be honest.
He's getting there, yeah. But there's a lot of those guys out there that don't figure that shit out either. So
that's true.
I'm not surprised. He's a human being. He's going to make mistakes. He'll probably do it again, to be honest. He just has to fix that on his own. If he doesn't want to, whatever.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Hey, if he ODs, I'm blaming you.
Oh, that would suck. That'd be tragic.
I'd be like, and in other news, I was right.
Oh, just kidding. I hope that doesn't happen. That'd be sad.
I hope not either. I hope, he talks about, I'm done with alcohol. Well, okay,
for like a week.
We'll believe it when we see it, essentially.
He's like, until next time, Vegas.
Yeah. Until I see another bottle of booze I can't go without.
Yeah. Maybe his fights should be in Albuquerque. Just to prevent something like that from happening. Because obviously,
I feel like the only worthy contender he has is the law.
Yeah. Also, did you read the details on what he did? Kind of crazy, huh?
Didn't he hit somebody?
He pulled some woman's hair. He headbutted a car and ran away.
I heard about headbutting a car, which is interesting because in the industry that I work in, when we hear, car versus train. Yeah. Whenever I hear it phrased like that, because I'm so involved in the fight community, I go, I wonder who won that one.
Yeah. Also, though, what was weird is, they released the details on the police report, which, doesn't give away exactly what I think the description they gave was domestic violence and tampering with a vehicle. So the tampering with a vehicle was him headbutting the vehicle, and the domestic violence was him pulling a woman's hair. Okay. I didn't see that one coming.
I hope they drug test him because I'm curious what he was on when he did all these things.
Might have been just been drunk. I don't know. We'll see.
Right. He's all, no, I want that.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's like, F you, cop car.
And who was the woman? It wasn't his girlfriend or whoever she is, his wife.
It wasn't?
I don't know. Was it her car? They didn't say. I'm not sure. Unless I'm wrong, somebody correct me, because I'd like to know the details on that. I just hadn't seen it.
Jesse Moses bloodied after allegedly assaulting her with their 3 children present.
Oh.
He left his fiance. Something must have happened with her.
Oh.
I believe it was her.
Oh, no. Oh, boy.
Yeah. Well, John, good luck.
Figure it out, man. Come back.
You know what? Let's move on to happier news, can we?
Yeah.
Please. PFL will be having an event at the end of October with your favorite and kind of mine. I feel like she still has a lot of work to do. Clarissa Shields will be competing on that card.
Like, who are you talking about?
But then the Savage will also be on this card. Kayla Harrison. Oof.
Yeah.
That I say her name, I legit just got chills.
Yeah.
She's bad.
Yes. Unstoppable, that's for sure. Undeniable at this point. But Clarissa Shields, I'm excited for her. We'll see what happens with this one.
This will be her second fight. She'll be taking on Abigail Montez.
I like how they're matching her up with someone who's relatively around the same experience, too. I like that.
Montez is 2-0.
Yeah, well, at least they're not throwing her in with former champions and stuff like that yet.
Right. Clarissa Shields is going to be taking on so-and-so who's 18-2.
Okay.
Yeah, they aren't doing that. They know Shields is going to be a draw if they keep doing it right with her and building her up and let her build her career.
Yeah.
So I do look forward to that. I applaud that. And of course, Kayla Harrison in the women's lightweight final against Taylor Guardado.
Wow. Guardado.
Yeah. So Kayla Harris is going to win. Let's just be honest. She scares the hell out of me. And I have a beard. And yeah.
Just saying.
Just saying. That's all. And then also in news, Derek Lewis, one of my favorite fighters, just because, his balls are sweaty. It's hot.
Yeah. His balls was hot.
He's showing up on one of my favorite YouTube shows, or at least that's where I watch it, Hot Ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And for those who haven't seen Hot Ones is a chicken wing. You eat chicken wings and they put different hot sauces on them, and you go up different levels to
progressively
be
gets worse
hot.
as you go. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
And they interview you while you're eating those, so it's funny.
So I found this out and I was like, I want to share this because I need to watch this. I want to see what crazy stuff he says.
Derek Lewis is not okay while eating spicy.
Exactly. Compared to his Instagram, where he posts the nuttiest stuff and literally writes in the comment, he's okay.
He's okay. Literally watch someone get run over by a semi and he says
someone
he's okay.
You're pretty sure is dead.
Yeah, he's okay.
So, hey, props to Derek Lewis for getting the notoriety, enough notoriety to be on Hot Ones, because they've pulled some major people on there. And I really dig it.
They have great, all the comedians. Those ones are great.
Oh man, Tom Segura is one of my favorites.
Did you see the one with him and Bert Kreischer together though on that Hot Ones? They did one together. It was great. Yeah.
I don't know do you listen to any of the other podcasts that those guys do?
All of them.
Okay, I'm just making sure. Because when you said Bert Kreischer, I was going to go, you mean Bert Chrysler? Or Bart Chrysler? Yeah.
Oh, man. That was a funny special. That was great.
Oh, man. So
Brent
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome that Derek Lewis is getting the notoriety. I can't wait to see how he does. According to this image, he's breaking a hard sweat. So
balls are really out there.
Right. Also in news, this is boxing news now. Manny Pacquiao is announcing his retirement. Yeah. So Pacquiao was still competing. His record ended up being 62-8-2. And he is leaving the boxing game, but he is a senator in the Philippines, and he has been for quite some time while still competing. So he will he will continue to do that. So that's awesome.
From time to time, also he runs for president a couple times. Also,
good for him. I knew he did that, but we don't hear about that too often here stateside. We just hear about him competing in boxing.
We don't hear about that at all. But I'm glad that he's calling his career,
and not being one of those guys that's still trying to hang on and slurs his words when he speaks, because that's just terrible.
Well, he can't be slurring his words if he's a senator. Got to be able to speak.
I mean, he could. Have you seen some of the U.S. senators that people have put in office?
Yeah, we don't need to get into that.
Yeah, let's avoid the politics.
Yeah. And
then you have some information for us on an event that's going on this weekend. Why don't you talk to us about that?
Yeah, so some amateur Muay Thai going on tomorrow in Selma. Great town. Not. Anyways, they found a spot.
We love you, Archie.
Yeah. So they found a spot in Selma. I believe it's in a park near Cattleman's Restaurant, which is a great restaurant. That
it is.
So there's a fighter from my gym, Manny Mancha kickboxing gym. Mariano Hernandez will be fighting tomorrow. He has fought in before, I believe, in a PKB. I don't think he's actually done an event yet, such as an amateur event like this. So I'll be out there supporting him for sure. Anyone interested in watching some amateur Muay Thai, these are usually really exciting. These are really exciting fights. Pac, usually has a good turnout. Pac started a while back, and they're still going, which is really cool. They did have an issue with the pandemic. They called off a couple of their fight cards, I believe, or one, and this is the one that is finally happening since the pandemic. So it looks like they had a lot of fighters on the card. I don't know how many dropped out because that always happens. Last time I checked, I think our fighter from Manny's gym is around number 8, 6, 7, or 8-ish, kind of in the middle of the card.
Don't most of these fights take place on Sundays, though?
They used to, as of late. The last few were on Saturdays.
I'm glad to see it. They're on Saturdays, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, the thing is with that is the venue that they're at. It depends where they're at, because the place that they had before, they used to have a lot of them at the Doubletree Hotel downtown Fresno. And I think Sundays were just easier to get in on, or perhaps
Probably.
cheaper. I don't know. So that's why. I know I always thought I was always fighting on a Sunday. I'm like, man, this is weird. I got to take Monday off, all this crap. But so I think they start at 4. So they do start a bit later now, which is cool. So it's a night event. But yeah, so Mariano Hernandez will be fighting tomorrow. I'm really excited. And also these fights normally turn out pretty good anyway. So if you're looking for some live entertainment, amateur Muay Thai kickboxing, be worth it to go out there. I don't know what the tickets are charging at the door. I got mine in advance, so I'm not sure. I know they always go up the day of. But yeah, these ones should be good. So come out and support them. A lot of these are local fighters, so should be fun. I haven't been to a Pac in a while. The last one I went to was I fought in it a couple of years ago. It was 2019, so it's been a while. But yeah, they're usually pretty fun. So gonna go out there tomorrow and have a good time.
Got to show the local fighters some love. That's one of the big thing. One of the things that we are all about on the MMA Mainstream Podcast is we love representing locals, and because we are from Central California, we have quite a few. We're in the thick of it. So, folks, if you have a chance, if you're in Central California, near Selma, go check out the Pac Fights in Selma. For more information, you can check out their website at pacfights.com. And then one other thing we were going to talk about is Grappling X is going to be coming back. I mentioned this a few times previously. They'll be back October 24th, and that'll be taking place, I believe, at the fairgrounds. They had to postpone it because of the fair. They are having the Big Fresno Fair this year, and that was going to take place at the same time. So the fair, of course, is a huge moneymaker. So they just pushed back the event by a few weeks till the end of October. Go check it out, Grappling X. Things are starting to get back to normal here, thank goodness, because, man, we needed these local fights and these local events. So that's going to be taking place. If you need more information, you can Google Grappling X, and you should be able to find all the information you need on their website. And, represent jiu-jitsu, of course. That's going to do it for us this week. We are probably into Bellator by now, so that's going to be for sure on the list tonight. You guys have a good night. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you guys later.